We are officially live. Adam, it's you and I.
Sam, get out of the camera.
All right. We're here. Hey, can you stand behind us and get ready to sing? Everybody needs to see your face. David's in house. If anybody wants to make any kind of a love song requests, we have him here.
Taking requests. I'll be around. Let me know.
Coast 103.5 love songs. Adam, how was your day today, by the way?
Great day.
Yeah?
Great day. I lost $10,000, but
You lost or you invested $10,000?
I haven't seen the return on the investment.
What did you invest in? Tell us what you put $10,000 in.
I invested in you.
Which is what? I mean,
You did an amazing video.
Are we live on Facebook or we're not live on Facebook yet? This is
We're on Instagram.
This is
It
Facebook.
shows live. So how do I see comments? Spin a minute. Okay, we got Nathan on. Great. We got Daryl Malone on. Woodjick. Copabana, tell me the good news, gentlemen. Ruda, Gracie, John Mason, $10,000 as a drop.
John Mason.
He's on. We got
when
a
he
bunch
was
of
bar
people here on.
mitzvahing
We got Mark Carter on
DJing
here.
bar mitzvahs, he wasn't talking
Anyways,
about that.
so look, it's good to have a lot of you on this side. We got Frank Estrada, Taylor Vera, Nathan Orlande, Tim Reeve, Tom De La Cruz. Thanks, guys. So by the way, I don't know if you guys know or not, he went live today on his new show, Saucecast.
Yeah.
Which I thought it was sick. You crushed
Thank
it
you.
today. It was
I
great.
had a great time.
So today, Mario, David, Kai, they suggested we go live. When is the last time we did Instagram or Facebook Live? Kai said
Back
a
in
year.
Dallas.
Kai said a year. Like the last time we went live, it was in Dallas. So since we moved to Florida, we've not done a single live.
Florida, no.
Okay. So we're gonna answer
But
some
why
questions.
is that? Why have you not
November,
gone live?
Thanksgiving,
The people
I
want
think
you
it was.
live. Is it because you do so many podcasts live?
I mean, let's do it live, is what I say.
Bill O'Reilly too.
Yeah. So, anyways, we'll
Losing connection.
close this one up. Close this one up. We'll just do these two. We'll just do Facebook and Instagram. A lot's happened. I don't know if you heard the news today. There's a few things that was announced just yesterday. We announced the what do you call it? $5 million, $2.5 million to President Trump, $2.5 million to President Obama, to do a sit down and do an interview for us to a long form interview so we can help unify America. And ever since then, a lot of strange people have contacted us from media, from Hollywood, from sports. And just today, we went from $5 million to over $5.7 million. Now, you gave $10,000, which was very nice of you to give $10,000.
Aaron Singerman gave a $500,000.
From Redcon, he gave $500,000.
Your boy,
Alfred gave $100,000. And we just literally set up the Donately right now. I think even maybe 20 minutes ago, we launched it where people are contributing because I would like nothing more to see this happen. I would like nothing more to see Barack Obama and Donald Trump sit down together. Imagine first hour, I ask questions and we go back and forth based on some questions that everybody's wondering. And the next hour, you just see them speak to one another. And the rest of the world gets a chance to see what they would say to each other. What would that conversation sound like? And how would our enemies feel about it? How would China, Iran, Russia feel about it? How would they feel about seeing one from a Democratic president and a Republican president that currently right now don't seem like they get along to sit down and have that kind of discourse together? What does that do to the world? How much
it would
does
blow
it
their minds.
I think it would be a
Can I ask you a question?
Please go for it.
Obviously, you're doing this because you actually believe that it can happen.
Absolutely.
Like, you're not doing this for clickbait. This
Nope.
is real. You're
I
going to
fully
put the
believe
money
this can
out
happen.
there.
Yep.
You're a data
Can I
guy.
see that
You're an
spoon,
odds
please?
guy.
God, if you don't mind, I have not eaten, so I'm going to eat and
He's
speak
gonna have
to you
his
tonight.
sushi.
So go ahead.
My question to you is,
Yes.
what are the chances that this actually happens?
If you're asking me percentage-wise,
Yes.
here's what I think. I think if the audience wants it, there's three factors here. One is for them to agree to do a long-form interview where it's got to be free-for-all, where we can ask any questions. Now, obviously, some of the stuff we would talk before. And we say, these are the 5 issues I want to be able to talk with you, and then whatever issues you guys want to ask each other, there's no filters there. You can ask each other any questions. So one is the arrangement on how this would take place. They may have some questions. It's not going to be the traditional, you have 2 minutes, President Trump. Go ahead. What do you have to say about this?
It's not a debate.
No, it's not a debate. It's a
dialogue.
discussion. Purely a dialogue. And the
Conversation.
only time I would be involved if it got a little bit too out of hand, were one-sided and the other hand. I don't think that's going to be taking place. Number two is, if the American people want to see this happen, the biggest complaint, what was the biggest complaint in 2016 debates? Think about it. The biggest complaint in 2016 or 2020 debates, Andrew Yang, who was running on the Universal Basic Income campaign, right? He said the biggest complaint about the debate was, you have 2 minutes to give an answer. How do you explain something in 2 minutes?
Something complicated like
yeah,
UBI.
so you want a little bit of a longer, you tell me your thoughts on this for 10 minutes. Why? So we can go back and forth, right? There's no limitations. It'd be interesting for us to go in that direction anyway. So if the people want to see this, it'd be $1 a month. So I said I'm winning $5 million. Now, others are coming in saying I'll put $500,000, $100,000. And it's only been less than 24. It's been 24 hours right now. So then somebody proposed and said, what if somebody wants to be in that room? Well, if somebody wants to be in that room, match me $5 million. So what if we get 10 people that put $5 million? Now you got President Trump's got 25 million. Now you got President Obama got 25 million. You want the 25 million? You can take the 25 million. You don't want the 25 million. What can $25 million do to streets of Chicago? Well, what can we do to help families in the military? I know President Trump cares about veterans. You want to help them out? Let's help raise some money to make this meeting happen. President Obama, you want to help a lot of folks, and I think both of them do. That's $25 million. If you want to do something with it or give it to charity, that is completely your choice on what you decide to do with it. So if people want to see it happen, they can make it happen. Today, Daily Caller, which is Daily Caller's, who owns Daily Caller? By the way? Is that Tucker Carlson? Yeah. Daily Caller. Yeah. Today they wrote about it. They said, I don't have the link here. I don't know where the article is. Can you pull it up and tell me what the thumbnail of the article says? Something about Valuetainment host proposes to do a meeting with President Trump and Obama and puts $5 million in. So that got a lot of people, and this is just in 24 hours. So I think
it's going to snowball. It's going to be a compound interest. It's like this. It's been 24 hours.
If people want it to happen.
So go back to my original question. The odds that it happens now. You were basically explaining that the more people
the host of
the
Valuetainment podcast offers $5 million to Trump and Obama.
Bring it over here.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
I'm bringing it up on the TV. So the where am I showing this? Or Kai's going to put it up on the TV.
Yeah, right up.
You'll see in the back.
But talk odds.
What is the percentage?
Like meaning, all right, let's have fun with this. When you started this idea, I got a crazy idea. Chances of this happen are 1%. This is insane. You do the video, you cut up the video, you launch the video, you pros to 5 million. Now this is real. Now maybe we're at 20% this happens. Money comes in.
Yeah, I think
so. Give odds. Give Vegas odds.
I'm at 20% right now. I think 1 in 5. I think this could happen.
And what amount of money needs to be raised or proposed for this to be 50-50?
It's two things. It's people want to see it, and a worthwhile time, and then knowing the fact that it's going to be fair and it's not one of these, ABC shows you go watch with Oprah Winfrey sitting down with Megyn Kelly and
Meghan Markle
and Prince Harry, which has got a commercial every 3 seconds, and you can't even see the full conversation. You have to go see it only in one place. No, I want this message to be accessible, where you can go get it on YouTube, on podcasts. I'll take the hit. I'll put the $5 million investment. $5 million is a lot of money, but at the same time, $5 million for me, what America's done for my family and how my dreams have become a reality, I think it's fully worth it. So I think 20% chance, I think this happens. So people want to see it, and everybody, like the biggest thing right now is discourse, conversation amongst each other. Hey, what do you think about this? Do you want to see this? Yep. You're at dinner tonight. You're saying, did you see this one guy off Valuetainment wants to get $5 million to see this happen? Do you want to see this? No way. That is a great idea. What if it does happen? The more that discourse takes place, and there's some that are saying Trump will never do it. There's some that saying Obama will never do it. There's some that saying Obama shouldn't ever sit with Trump. And there are some that are saying Trump should never sit down with Obama.
Who do you think is more likely to do it out of the two?
I think the majority people are thinking Trump would say yes, Obama would say no. And I don't think it's because Obama fears a dialogue, because I think Obama's one of the most poised guys when it comes down to situations like this. He sat down with Romney. He sat down with Hillary. He's gone up against a lot of people. And he went up against McCain. He's went up against a lot of people. and he won 2 terms. So I don't think he's afraid of it, but I think his camp's going to say don't do it. And I think,
when's the last time they were even in the same room? That in 2016 when he came to the White House, the awkward handshake. Nothing since.
not that I know of.
That's
You're talking
wild.
about 5 years.
Right, because you think of when George H.W. Bush died, or Barbara Bush died, and all the presidents were sitting there in a row, but Trump wasn't there.
Yeah.
And you see Michelle Obama and George W. Bush. They're kind of buddy, you know, passing gum and candy together.
Pat, you know what I'd be curious to ask about is where did the idea come from, and why is it something that, you know, maybe people need to understand what took place to get you to think of this would be an important conversation to have, and why these two people at this time?
Somebody just asked right now, I would much rather see Michael Francis and Sammy DeBoldu sit down. Now that's a tough one. It may be tougher to get Michael and Sammy to sit down than it would be to get, but there's an audience for both. I think there's people that would love to see Michael and Sammy. And by the way, if that were to ever happen, and if that was to ever be introduced, by the way, how many people around the world would want to see the interview between Michael and Sammy? What do you think? If Michael and Sammy agreed, how many people around the world? The interview with Sammy, just the interview on YouTube got 12 million views. The interview with Michael got 12 million views, both of them. What would happen if Michael and Sammy sat together? And let's say it's not 1 hour or 2 hours. Say it's 6 hours. Say it's 8 hours. How would that do?
I think it'd blow up. It'd be dangerous.
How many of you would want to see that? Who would want to see Michael and Sammy? I think that would be insane. But, Mario, you were saying your question was what?
Yeah, where did this idea come from, and like what triggered the thought to say, you know, this conversation is needed at this point right now? What caused that? Because some people are saying, well, this seems like a stunt, marketing gimmick.
Yep.
Is it a marketing gimmick? You know? So where did it come from? Why is this important right now? I mean,
First of all,
such a big deal.
A question like that, Mario, today's officially your last day. Pack your bags and go home.
Thank you,
Bye,
Mario.
everybody.
No, it's a great question, Mario. Here's what I would tell you. When I was a kid, living in Iran, I would go to my mother's side house, okay, and her family. And a lot of her family would talk trash about my dad. And when I would go to my dad's house, his side of the family would talk trash about my mom. And I would come home, and my dad was at work every night. He would come home at 8:30, but the aunties would come over. And it would come over, and all they did is, your husband doesn't do this, your husband doesn't do that, your husband doesn't do this. And I'm talking for 6 hours, and they would sit there for coffee, and they would drink the coffee. And by the time my dad comes home at 8:30, he left house at 5 o'clock. He would drive to a city called Karaj, which is 2.5 hours away, and this car Jian. Jian only goes 50 miles an hour. It's the slowest car in Iran. It's a French car. It's a terrible car. It's worse than a Pinto. This man comes at 8:30. He's tired, and I would see my mom's waiting to fight him. And all of a sudden, I see them going at it, fighting. I saw this routine every night. Auntie relatives would come. They don't care about the marriage, and they would keep dividing. Every day, I saw glimpses of how they eventually helped their goal be accomplished, which is what? My parents got a divorce. My parents got married. Paulette's born. 2 years after Paulette's born, they get a divorce. Then they remarry. Then I'm born 4 years later. Then they get a divorce 18 years later. Okay? That's my parents. And I saw behind closed doors, everybody ruined a great family. Okay? So for me, I eventually told both families, and I said, you have to understand, neither one of you guys are my priority. My priority is my mom, my sister, and my dad. That's it. If you disrespect my mom, I don't want to be around you. If you disrespect my dad, I don't want to be around you. I'm only around you because you are my dad's brother or you're my mom's brother. If you're not, the only reason you matter is because you're secondary. But you're hurting my family right now, and I don't like that. And as a kid, when you go through a divorce and you're 10, 11, 12 years old, if anybody's gone through it, it's traumatic for a kid when you go through it, especially when you're in that moment. You kind of don't have a father figure. I don't have a dad around me. It's not easy for 2 years. I don't have a dad around me. I see my dad once every 2 weeks. Anyways, fast forward. You asked the question, why does this matter to me? That was my parents. It affected me directly. This is the country I live in. It's going to affect my kids directly. And I got 4 of them now. I got a 9, 7, 5, and a 4-week-old. You know, Brooklyn's now a month old. Her birthday was 3 days ago. She's a month old already. And I have to be able to answer the question, hey, Daddy, when you could do something about it, how come you didn't do anything about it? You know, this whole thing about all rich people care about is what? Finish
Money.
that sentence. All rich people care about is?
Money.
Okay, so now you have money. What do you do with your money? There's a lot of different things you can do. You want to buy some nice cars? Go do it. You want to buy some nice jewelry? Go ahead, get that thing out of your system. You want to buy clothes? You want to buy cars? You want to buy baseball cards? I'm a card guy. Get it out of your system. Now what are you going to do? So all that selfish stuff that you got out of your system, great. You made the money. You earned the money. Nothing wrong with that. Now what? What are you going to do now? All that money, what are you going to do now? And both in the Kennedy family and the Bush family, they had one formula. It's a beautiful formula they both had. In the Bush family, it started off from Prescott. Prescott is the grandfather of George Bush. So George Bush Sr.'s father, Prescott, he was Senator Prescott. They had a rule. Here's what it was. First rule, go make money for your family. Set aside enough money for retirement for you, for your wife, and money for your kids. The moment you do that, then give back to the country. Make sense? Public service. How do you get into public service? Many different ways. You know, in the Jewish community, they say there's 3 things every man should do. Write a book, plant a tree, have a son, right? 3 things you ought to do. But one of the things they say in the Jewish community that they look at as the biggest giving back is being a mentor. Giving back. When you become a mentor, it's a very big deal to give back to the community. I think at a point like this, I have a platform, we get some views, we have an audience, we have a business audience, we have an entrepreneur audience, we have an audience that's both Democrats and Republicans. Adam on this side, he is a person that's politically maybe different than some of the other people here. We have nice discourse, conversations. The audience gets to sit there and say, I side with Adam, I side with Patrick, I side with whoever, and we have this debate. And I think who wins is the people that are watching. For us, we're going to go away and we're going to have nice sushi together, have a sit down, you know, watch a nice movie, watch some sports, and we'll go back at it again. But if we have the platform right now, I think we need to use it to do this. So, 1, the resources, and 2, I would love nothing more to see America be united like we were when 9/11 happened. That was a crisis. Everybody was scared. We thought it was going to be a big war, but nobody cared if you're white, black, Hispanic, Asian, educated, uneducated, from Iran, from whatever. Nobody cared. Nobody cared if you're a Democrat or Republican. All they cared about is you're red, white, and blue. And I think today is a moment like that where we got to realize we have, like Gerard asked me a question. He says, do you really think Obama would do something like this? Or would Trump really do something like this? I said, first of all, we're quick to forget that Trump and Obama have way more things in common than differences. We have totally forgotten what things we have in common today. The only thing we spend time talking about right now with the media is what? What we have differences in.
Yeah.
The messaging isn't,
Undivided.
it's all about that. So, you know what? Best part about the debate between Trump and Hillary was what? If you remember that moment. The best part about Hillary and Trump
When they
debates
said-
at the end.
Say one nice thing about the other candidate.
What did Hillary say?
She respected his family.
She respected his family. What did Trump say?
He respected her work ethic and her fight.
The fact that she never gave up.
Yeah.
What a great moment. That was a great moment. You did your debate?
Did you see when this was before the election, I went out, this is when we were in Dallas, I went out and I asked people who they were voting for, what's the reason they were voting, you know, what's the most important, how does it affect the economy? But here's the question that stumped a lot of people. When I found out, all right, you're a Trump person, okay, cool. All right, you're a Biden person, all right. Now, say one nice thing about the other candidate. And some people willingly said, well, you know, Biden is experienced, or, you know, Trump, he does shake things up. But some people said, you know what? I can't even say something nice about the other person. And that's a problem. When you can't even find one good thing about the other person.
That's a character issue. No, that's a character issue.
In that person, you're saying.
In that person, yeah, that's a character issue. Because you either have so much pride that you can't even give credit to somebody. Cicero said, nations fall because people fight on who should get credit for the success. You know, so hey, all of a sudden, hey, your podcast blows up. You're getting millions of views. Who did it? Oh, he did it. Oh, the idea is this. Oh, it's that person. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's not my. Without me. Without this.
Yeah.
America right now is, listen, there's a little bit of fault on both sides.
I agree.
Both of them.
Well, to use your analogy, when you said that Trump and Obama have more in common than they have differences, I think that the metaphor is absolutely right for all of us Americans. We have more in common than we do have differences. Half my best friends are Republicans, half my best friends are Democrats. I'm kind of in the middle. I can go this way and go that way, but at the end of the day, if we're going to hang out and have a beer or have dinner, I don't care where you lean politically. And I think this is part of the media's problem, is that it's so divisive, and that's how they get views, and that's how they basically make money, is to divide. You talked about it on the podcast today. And really, it's that you're trying to unify.
Listen, I got the best comment of the day. I can't read what he says, but he says, "Why are you eating with a chopstick, you little..." You see what he says out there? I can't say that word because maybe this will get taken down.
Somebody said Adam looks like he just came from a bar.
Oh, that's the truth, though. He did just come. Talk about the bar you just came out of. You know, it's... Anyway, so let's go to questions. Any questions you have? A couple things for you to be thinking about. One is what's going on here. We got so many different projects right now we're working on that it's trying to juggle everything. We are hosting an annual convention with our insurance company next week. Next week or 2 weeks from now, Mario. It's like 11 days from now. We're going to have Nicky Jam performing. We're going to have Mario Lopez as a host.
So I hear.
Sebastian Maniscalco is going to be performing. Frederick De Silva, the top illusionist. Mike Tyson's going to be there. And we're going to have 12,000 plus people there in Las Vegas.
I hear Mario Aguilar is going to be there too.
Well, when you say Mario, it sells out. It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sells out. When you
And
say...
guys, Mario's hosting. It's
Yeah,
Mario
Mario's
Aguilar,
gonna
not
be
Mario
there.
Lopez.
But also, first week of September, we are doing Vault Conference.
Yeah.
3 days of entrepreneurs, C-suite executives, salespeople from around the world that are going to come together to strategize on what to do to grow their businesses post-COVID. It's a complete different climate right now because strategies that worked pre-COVID are different than strategies that are going during COVID versus strategies for post-COVID. So we have that coming up in the first week of September. Gary Kasparov's going to be there. Phil Heath, 7-time Mr. Olympia, is going to be there. I think Phil is on here as well.
He is.
And then Billy Bean, who took the mathematician genius. Yeah, the whole Moneyball movie with Brad Pitt. And then a few other people will be announcing. It's going to be exciting. So that'll be first week of September. Everybody from the Valuetainment crew is going to be there as well. So if you haven't yet registered, we look forward to seeing you there. But I'll answer any questions you may have. So if you got any questions...
Is there a way to do Q&A on the Instagram?
I can't. If you even do questions, maybe I'll even give you a number to text us. Maybe we'll call you.
There is.
Because it's a lot easier.
What does this button right here do? These Q&A.
Oh, these requests?
Yeah. What? No.
Let me
not,
see
yeah,
these.
No,
These
not
are
that
what?
one.
These are...
That's requests to go live. Hit this other one. No, don't do that one. What's that one?
Questions.
Aha.
If
Tap
Bush and
answer
Clinton would
question.
sit down, would it be amazing, Trump and Obama? I think Trump and Obama is night and day to Bush and Clinton. Do you agree? Trump and Obama versus Bush and Clinton.
What do you mean verse?
No, he's saying... What's the difference between them two? Like Bush and Clinton sitting together versus Obama and Trump. I think it's night and day. Favorite Valuetainment video to date? Oh, it's so many. Kobe Bryant would probably be at the top if I had to choose. 33% Scotland. When is a nonfiction book coming out? Interesting you ask. How do you know how does he know about the fiction book, not the fiction book? Oh, the nonfiction book. I'm working on both a fiction and a nonfiction book, but the fiction book I'm working on
I got a good question here.
is the one I'm very excited about. Tell me.
Somebody said, what themes would you lead in with the Obama-Trump meeting? What themes would you lead with when it comes to that conversation?
How do we get here is the opening question.
Wow.
It's very simple. And that could be a 30-minute conversation, by the way. President Obama, President Trump, how do we get here?
Who do you think would talk more?
Who would I think would...
Like if it's a 2-hour open dialogue,
President Obama.
you think he would... What?
Jennifer Kervin, by the way. Jennifer Kervin.
60-40? Where do you envision that?
President Obama would talk more, not because he talks more, it's because he talks slower. Because his pacing is much thought out when he's going. Trump is a little bit of a faster pacing, which means he may say more words, but I think Obama's going to have more speaking time. So words, I think it'll be Trump. Time, I think, will be Obama. How's that? Is that good?
Yeah, get in there.
Try some of this. Try some of the salmon. What else, Mario? What else? Yeah, that was Jennifer.
Jennifer Kervin, yeah. By the way, compliment for you real quick. Nikki78 says, thank you for caring so much about the U.S. You're missing dinner with your family.
You know what? I appreciate that. And I got to tell you, I've been having such a good time with the kids lately. Fantastic time with the kids lately. Dylan, today's Jennifer sent me a picture of Dylan when he was a year old. You know what Dylan looks like? You ever seen that movie, Honey, I Blew Up the Kids?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
No, blew up the kids.
Yep,
like when he blew up the kids.
Oh, God.
Dylan looks like this monster in our house, and Jen looks this big. I'm going to post a picture. You guys got to see it. It doesn't look real, yeah. But yeah,
I saw
I
Dylan
appreciate
dancing
that.
the other day. I didn't know he had those kind of dance moves.
It's more than dancing. Senna yesterday met a boy in school that flirted with her, and mommy told me about the boy, and I came home asking about the boy. She couldn't even look at me in my eyes.
Senna.
She couldn't look at me in my eyes. I said, so who is this boy? And she looks at me. She walks away, runs away. I'm like, really? What happened here? Anyways, I'm going to go to the school tomorrow, tell the guy he has to change schools.
Sorry, buddy, you got to transfer. But Pat,
I'm gonna give you.
5 years
I'm
old.
gonna go to his
Sorry,
parents and
guy.
say, "Here's $5 million. Move."
This is a good question here. I got Pierre Gothgier. He's asking, how do you unite the political extremes? How do you unite the left and the right?
Well, I can tell you the fastest way to divide is to make sure you never meet each other. How do you finalize a negotiation? Never meet with each other. What do you mean? You're never going to negotiate. If you want to negotiate, you have to sit down together. Sit down and have your differences hashed out. Like, you know what's the meeting with President Trump and Obama I'm really looking forward to? You know which one, Mario? The one we never see. So say we sit down and it's a 3-hour sit down with myself and President Trump and Obama, right? You know what's really exciting? Here's what's really exciting at the end. What's exciting at the end is when they step away and they forget about anybody that was in the room and no one's around and they have a 90-minute conversation together. Wow. That's what I'm excited about. That's what I'm excited about. Where they say, dude, what are you doing? Like, you know you love them. You know we're not going the right direction. Why don't we go out there together and do something about it? Okay? So anyways, so I think the only way you do it is by
when
them.
Obama pulls Trump aside and be like, look, bro, you know I was born here. I mean, come on. We're really going to...
funny.
We're going to do this?
Do you think that's what he's going to bring up?
Go like this.
You think that's what he's going to bring up?
I mean, you know how they say, to be a fly on that wall. Are you kidding me? I mean,
I actually don't care about being the fly on that wall. I just care the fact that they're having that conversation. That's what I care about. This is about the sit down. How can you get two people who really disagree with each other, have different philosophies, to sit down together? That's what this is all about. What else, Mario? Tell us.
Yeah, somebody's saying, what would you expect to happen after the conversation? So let's say they sit down, they have that conversation. What happens next?
Somebody asked, is Adam single? Miss, what can I say here? I mean, that's the most important question of the day for Adam. Is Adam single? Can I say yes or no?
I'm single as long as you like cats. It'll be all right.
Mario, go ahead. What was your question?
What happens next? They have the conversation. What would you expect to happen next after that conversation?
Here's what happens. If the two most influential people in America are willing to sit down together, guess what the movement's got to be? Everybody else has got to do it. So watch how crazy this will be. Can you imagine if Tucker Carlson and Chris Cuomo sit down together? Imagine if Tucker and Rachel Maddow sit down together.
Wow.
Imagine if Anderson Cooper and Sean Hannity sit down together. Imagine if what the new trend becomes, people who fully can't stand each other's ideas, they have a sit down together. Visualize that. Like, imagine two people you never thought would sit down together, they start sitting down together. Because if 2 out of the 45 presidents are willing to sit down with each other and they have pretty opposing ways of running the country, if they can do it, so can you. You will see more and more people uniting together. More. Look, here's how it works. When Michael was the face of the league, everybody wanted to be like Mike. So what did they do? People dressed like Mike. When Kobe was in the league, people dressed like Kobe. When LeBron was in the league, they dressed like LeBron. When, Bill Clinton was a president, all the players would say what? We got a player in the White House, right? So it's kind of like a thing to be a player. When, Reagan was in the house and he was a conservative, everybody wanted to be a better father or husband. It was like a I want to be like him when I grow up. I want to be like him when I grow up. There's an admiration, there's an adoration to a person that lives a certain way. You want to duplicate their habits.
Yeah.
If the two powerful people unify, the next decade or two is going to be all about unifying. So you'll unify in your family, you'll unify in your company, you'll unify in your community, you'll unify in every possible place. Because the two most influential people are willing to do it, you ought to be able to do it as well.
There's a trickle-down effect to
in a positive
leadership.
way.
Exactly.
In a positive way. Mario, what else you got? The sushi's good, by the way, Caroline. Good stuff here.
Questions there? Are there the questions showing on there? People saying there's
It is. No problems. Don't really good pay-per-view of all time YouTube. Go ahead, Mario.
Do you think it would get pulled down from YouTube because of social?
I don't think so. If Obama's in it, I don't think it gets pulled down. I don't think so. If President Obama's in it, there's no way YouTube takes it down. No way. And we would have it on multiple different platforms so people would be able to hear it.
Why do you think most people, because I'm reading comments, and most people think it would never happen, they would never do it, this would never happen. Why are most people programmed to believe that something like this would never happen? Or is that really the case?
No, that's normal to think that. When a person said it's never going to happen, I'm like, you're thinking like a normal human being. You're right. That's your normal. What do you mean it's never going to happen? What is people supposed to say? You think the average person says, I'm going to be a billionaire one day? You think the average person says, we're going to be a millionaire one day? The average person says what? It's never going to happen. Yeah. You're right. That's your norm. So it doesn't bother me when people say it's never going to happen. You're right. To your mindset, you think it is never going to happen. I'm not trying to change the way you think. All I'm trying to do is, I try not to specialize in the normal. I want to specialize in the abnormal, and to do this is not the normal. You're right. That's true. So I don't debate you. I actually agree with you.
I really love what the case example that the BizDoc gave today.
With Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
And who was this is before my time.
Egypt and...
It was Israel and Egypt, but the two leaders...
the Egyptian leader helped out the Shah, by the way. He was the only guy that was standing in his corner.
Oh, really? But they sat down. You know, they say that you don't make peace with your friends, you make peace with your enemies. And I think the fact that we're even using a Democrat and Republican as enemies is already a bad sign. Like, we're not enemies. You know?
Yeah.
The people make us out to be enemies. But I have family members that are Republican, that are Democrat. Like,
be careful with those Republicans, though, to be honest with you. You got family members that are Republican?
Yeah, of course.
You know, I have the only people I have a hard time building a strong relationship with, and this is sincere.
Yeah.
It's a weakness of mine. I have a very hard time trusting Clipper fans. People who believe in the Clippers. It's a religious thing for me. You either,
Well, you're not a Lakers fan anymore. So
I am a Lakers fan. I'm just not the fan. The other day, this guy said, hey, you're wearing a 2009 Lakers hat. Why don't you sport today's Lakers hat? I said, I believe in the leader in 2009, not the leader in 2021.
Oh, wow.
So what else we got? Let's see what other questions we got. Guys, you're seeing it.
Val asked, should I sell my building now since market is up and hold the cash till the crash comes?
Should I sell
Should he sell this building now and hold on to the cash?
Before I would have said yes to you, but I'm saying not necessarily. I won't say yes or no to it. I would say not necessarily, and I would advise you to consult somebody who specializes in that. But I'm going to give you my feedback on it, okay? Number one, if your building's in a great market, if it's in a great zip code, if it's got 90%, 80% tenants, the chances are the more money these guys print and inflation keeps going up, you're naturally, that thing's going to go up because you can't build more land and you can't build more, like there's nothing you can do with that. So if you have the right one, the price of that real estate is going to keep going up. It's not going to go away. People today, anything that's a non-duplicatable asset today, I value. We're going to make two big announcements at the vault at the end. One of them is our investment group that we'll be announcing at the event. I'm very excited about that and what criteria we're looking at. I mean, it's going to be a pretty big announcement that we're announcing. And the other one we'll be announcing is a revolutionary app, which I can't wait for that one. I cannot wait for the
Tom
reaction.
show you anything?
No, how's it looking?
Pretty good.
Yeah, he told me something happened today, and he said I haven't whispered to you because I've been on from 8 o'clock till now. I haven't even had a chance to breathe since today with back-to-back appointments. But we'll be making a couple announcements there. But if you can get any kind of non-duplicatable assets, which that's one of them, and if it's a long-term investment, just sit on it. But that's my opinion. I may be wrong. What else?
I have a question to you on sleep.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
What's your relationship with sleep? Because it seems like that's not your thing.
We're talking about the whole vampire thing with Gerard. Tell me
There's
what Gerard...
there's rumors out there that you might be half vamp. No one's seen you sleep. Rarely in the sunlight. Somehow you always got a great tan. Don't know, you know.
The truth is, my
You
great-great-grandma
sleep very rarely.
dated a vampire.
And that's so you're confirming the rumors.
No, I mean, listen.
You've got 10% vamp blood.
But I got to tell you, last night, a friend of mine who's a very legendary bodybuilder, you may know a legendary bodybuilder. He may have one of the greatest physiques of all time. Extremely good looking. Like him a lot. Our relationship's becoming a very close relationship. We finished talking last night, I got to say, at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it was-
I'm not going to name names.
No,
Dark
don't.
skin, light eyes.
I don't think you've ever met him before in the last week.
Okay.
But I think you met him before.
All right, the last week, yeah.
The last 15 minutes, you know how I spoke to him? And he would probably laugh. He's listening right now with his wife, pretty much wife. I'm in the kitchen, no joke. I'm laying down in the kitchen. My arms are like this on the floor because it's cold.
Yeah.
And I have the phone right here. And I'm like, yeah, okay. What else? I mean, I'm just like this. I'm like, if there was FaceTime right now, it'd be a pretty awkward situation.
Knocked
No.
out.
But I think, when you talk about sleep, I make up for it on Saturdays. I get my 7 hours on my Saturdays. I think you got to figure out a way. I'm not a napper. Some people are. I can't nap. When I take a nap, I get a headache. But if you can't take a nap, you ought to take naps. Mm-hmm. If you can take a middle day, 5-10 minute naps. Let me see. One of the guys that's on here, he knows who he is. His first name starts with the letter J. He's a professional napper. He's a professional insider. He knows it. But his naps are not 15 minutes. It's more like a 2.5 hour nap in the middle of the day. And he'll do a Zoom. And I'm looking at him on a Zoom. I'm like, were you sleeping? No. I'm like, how the hell is half your hair like sitting down like this? And I wasn't sleeping. I'm like, look at your eyes real quick. Take a look at your eyes. But no, I can't nap. I like working, and I'm pretty excited about all the projects. How many projects we got going on right now?
Too many that I don't know half of them, and I'm here every day, so too many to count. I don't know.
I tell you, we did launch a new podcast today called Saucecast.
Yeah, I heard it did great.
I heard he crushed
I heard all we
it.
talk is money. That's what I heard.
I heard he crushed it. And he's single, apparently.
With cats.
You know who his manager is? Number one agent? He's the number one guy that keeps prospecting for him.
Who's that?
Have you met him?
Oh, you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Constantly looking for him.
Yeah. Thank you for the referrals. I appreciate
Non-stop.
it. Best thing in business is referral. I want to get Caroline's perspective on napping.
I don't know.
Yeah? Well, I saw you sleeping in your car the other day.
Oh.
No, it's because I had a big headache. I'm good now.
And I got Sammy here has a question. Sammy Spataro. I'm assuming he's international. He says, if you don't set up the interview with Trump and Obama, what is the likelihood of your country changing the negative course?
Oh.
Great question. Look, go to just bring it home. Bring it back to yourself, right? Go to your family, go to your friendship. Take two people who hated each other and you never thought they could get along with each other. Okay? Take two people who hated each other and they could never get along with each other. And eventually they ended up getting along and being good friends with each other. How did it happen? How did it happen? It's always somebody that brings people together, right? If it's not going to be this country is going to rely on synergists. And I think if there's, how being an entrepreneur was a movement, Mario, like in the last 10, 15 years?
Yeah.
Everybody on Twitter wants to put their profile, I'm a entrepreneur, I'm an investor, give me some of the stuff people put, crypto expert, or girl, is it girl dad, right? Or, You know, all these things that you see that people put there, boy dad, boy mom, girl mom, whatever they put on, all this stuff that we put. You know what I'd like to see people put? Synergist.
Synergist.
What if we have a movement where it's all synergists? Like you're proud to say, what do you mean you're a synergist? I bring people together. I bring people, matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? Remind me, right now on my Twitter profile, I'm going to change it right after this. I'm going to put lifelong synergist is what I'm going to put.
Wow.
Okay? Synergist. What if that becomes like a thing? So what do you do for a living? I'm a synergist. What do you mean you're a synergist? I bring people together. You do that for a living? Oh, absolutely. I bring clients together. I introduce business people to each other. You know, I get people to collaborate with each other. I'm a synergist. I think any country that's about to divide, what it needs is a synergist. And by the way, just so you know, some of you guys that are watching this, just so everybody knows this, if anybody commented and said, screw Trump, the hell with him, you're not a synergist. If you said, the hell with Obama, I would never want to see him sit down with Trump, that's not a synergist. Like, what good do you think that's going to do? You think we're going to be able to unify if we take that approach? No. The approach has got to be, let's see if this is possible. Why not? Let's try to bring it together. I think the movement of synergists in America is needed right now more than ever.
Can you give some qualities of a synergist for those people that are like, what is a synergist? Or, you know, what does that look like? Am I one already?
There's 4 things we pray for in the David family. What are those 4 things, Mario?
Tolerance, wisdom, courage, and understanding.
There you go. Okay, courage, wisdom, tolerance, understanding, right? The strength of a synergist is all those 4 things. You have to have the courage to face somebody and say, hey, we're going the wrong direction, man. You got to have a conversation here, but I'm going to respect you. But you got to have courage to talk to them, okay? Then you got to have wisdom to be able to do with people that are maybe a little bit more powerful than you and more older than you. In a situation like this, both of these folks are extremely powerful, and they've sat down with the most powerful people in the world. But wisdom allows you to be able to do that because they can respect the fact that you're coming from a place of, hey, I'd like to be able to do this without an incentive that I'm going to win. Hey, I'm going to sell you this. Wisdom, you need courage, wisdom. Then you need tolerance because this may take a little bit of time. And then you need understanding. That's the toughest one. You know why I need understanding? Because if you can't understand the other side's position at all, you're not a synergist. You can't bring people together. Why does Trump think the way he does? Why does Obama think the way he does? Why do Trump followers think the way they do? Why do Obama followers think the way they do? Rather than, he's an idiot. They're all a bunch of this. Yeah, you're just not, you're not a synergist. You know, you're not a synergist. So synergist is those 4 things combined.
Aldo asked, were the founding fathers synergists?
Were the founding fathers synergists? First of all, what they did is a lot of courage to go against the British Empire to say what they want to do. That's real courage. That's hard because at that time, you know, killing people was not a big deal. You can do it and get away with it and no one's going to record you. No, there's no Instagram, there's no Facebook, there's no smartphone, there's none of that stuff. Today it's a different story. But they definitely had, you know, courage, wisdom, tolerance, and understanding to do what they did. And we're the byproduct of it, you know? Last night we had a conversation with Adam and Gerard. Adam and Gerard want to team up together. I can't say the rest.
Well, to be honest with you, yeah, Gerard, number one, I like Gerard. He likes me, I think, too.
Tell him the truth. Tell him he's not watching. Tell him the truth.
Oh, shit. So Gerard, I'll fist fight that guy right now. He's 300 pounds now. Gerard is great.
He's lost weight, though, ever since he's been here. He's looking good.
And he got, like, the fade mullet thing. But I had to, number one, I think Gerard is super smart. I also think that he's been wronged, and I haven't been wronged per se. So for me to say, well, you don't know what you're talking about because it didn't happen to me, that would just be foolish. So I think he's angry at certain things, but it's justified anger, right? We talked about that. He's like, it just didn't happen to you. What happened to me in New York, whatever. But I hear what you're saying. Because it starts with, you know, I interviewed, talk about Synergist. Who did I interview?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I
the
interviewed
legendary
someone called,
6-hour interview.
Yes, 3 hours, marathon. Check it out on Valuetainment. I interviewed a guy called Daryl Davis on Valuetainment. And Daryl Davis is a black musician, plays the keyboard, and in his spare time, he befriends KKK Klansmen and convinces them, not even convinces them, enlightens them. He becomes the spark in their life for them to convince themselves to give up the KKK. He's sort of like the catalyst, the spark that says, whoa, hold on. I've been told my whole life that black people are da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. This guy just came into my life in this bar and completely flipped everything I thought on its head. And he just kind of, hey man, anytime you want to talk, I'm here for you, blah, blah. But his says the number one thing that you have to have for the other side, and this is a black man talking about KKK, is respect. Just, we see completely different. We don't agree, but I respect your right to talk and have your opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, listen. So that's a synergist. Talk about a synergist. Someone who these literally people want to kill, hate this man. And he goes, hey man, I'm willing to listen to you.
Yeah. So I mean that's the synergist, and you know, if you look at like right now, if you were to talk about who are the greatest synergists of all time, name a few. Kai, name synergists. Mario, name synergists.
Lincoln.
Lincoln's a synergist, North and South. Who else?
Kennedy.
Who?
Kennedy. R.I.P. John Kennedy. He was a synergist.
Kennedy, was he a synergist?
The moon.
Okay. I mean, maybe a visionary. You know, think
Mandela.
like. Okay.
Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
Gandhi.
Maybe. Some would debate
No.
it, but let's just say yes. So again, when you think about a synergist, it's a different element. They think
What's
in
the
a different
comment
way.
section saying? What do they think about synergists? Who comes to mind for them? The Dalai Lama.
Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, MLK Jr., True, Jesus.
Joe Rogan.
I think Joe Rogan is a synergist. Absolutely, Joe Rogan is a synergist. Joe Rogan may be one of the best synergists we have in America today, if you think about it.
Mainstream.
Yeah, he'll sit with Tulsi Gabbard. He'll sit with Candace Owens. He'll sit with Bernie Sanders. I mean, he's probably one of the top 10 synergists in America today, maybe a top 5 in America
Who
today.
in the traditional media space is actually a synergist? Traditional media. Think about it.
I don't think anybody.
It's not, Don Lemon.
I
It's
don't
not
think it's anybody right now.
Hannity. It's not Tucker. It's not Wolf Blitzer. It's not Anderson Cooper.
Maybe Brett Baer. Maybe Brett could be one. Maybe
Brett Baer.
it would be somebody on the economy side.
Well, I love Cavuto. I love Neil Cavuto.
He's still a center right. He's still a right a little bit, but
Is there anyone in traditional media that is actually a synergist?
I
That's
think
a
Rogan
legitimate
is.
question.
I think we are.
Traditional
I think,
media. That's
no,
not traditional.
No,
media.
mainstream.
Becoming-
You're talking about mainstream.
Mainstream,
No,
traditional media.
I don't think so. I don't think anybody right now mainstream media is.
That's sad.
Is a synergist.
Because you know who they used to say? Everyone should get
Cronkite.
their news from Walter Cronkite.
Yeah.
That's what's lacking in this country is
Yeah.
one trustworthy source. I'm turning on the news and I know that I'm
Yeah.
getting the honest truth. But it's all opinionated journalism.
Can we talk a little business? You want to talk a little business?
Let's do it.
Is that okay if we talk a little business? You know, a guy asked me a question right now saying, hey, so what do you think about masks? Some video was just shared right now where one of the journalists was asking one of Biden's, what do you call it? They're not press secretary, Psaki. What's another one of those like a Psaki?
Jen Psaki?
Jen Psaki, yeah. Hey, huh? She was wearing a pink dress. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, where they said, hey, so if you take a vaccine, you don't need to get a mask. What about now that we're taking a vaccine, we have to wear a mask? And they said, well, because of CDC guidelines, we trust their, what they're saying. And then he came back and asked the question and says, so if CDC comes to you and tells you that we need to do another government shutdown, what are you going to do? He says, well, we trust what they're saying. We would consider doing what they're doing, right? Okay. So here's the reality of it. Here's the reality of it, where we are today. I think at the end of the day, everything's going to work out. But here's what's going to happen and what's not changing today. If you weren't making money pre-COVID and you weren't capitalizing pre-COVID, if you didn't during COVID, and if you didn't post-COVID, I mean, right now, if there's ever been a time to be able to capitalize to protect you and your family and make some real money and can set aside some of the money, right now is the time. People are making money right now in ways they've never made before. So the one reminder for everybody is that you don't see a lot of politicians talk about is, when is the last time you saw a governor or a president talk about, hey, you know, like, you need to take the next 4 years, and within the next 4 years, you need to kind of have like $500,000, $2 million in the bank. You know, like if you got zero right now, within 4 years, you ought to have one of 4 goals. You either got to, like a person who's never had any money, within 4 years, you need to have a minimum of $100,000 in the bank. Your money, cash. Level 2 is you got a quarter. Level 3 is a half. Level 3 is level 4 is $1 million. Savings, liquid.
Can I?
100,
I would
quarter,
say,
$500,000,
I'd
a
say
mil.
start with 10.
No, I'm not.
Most people can't get to 10.
But 10, no. You can get to $100,000. Anybody can get to $100,000 in savings within the next 4 years. Anybody can. Okay. $100,000 within 4 years. Then you got $250,000, $500,000, $1 million, right? We are living in a time right now where people have to realize that we keep printing money. The rich keep getting richer. The more we print money, and eventually they're going to have to raise the taxes. If they raise taxes, we're going to have to pay that money back. The only way they're going to get their money is through us. When that does take place, what are you going to do when taxes go to 60%? What are you going to do when that happens? The people that have money, they're still going to keep making money. The people that don't have money, how are they going to be able to make that money? So this is a very, like, I'm reading this book by John Kotter. He talks about eight keys to lasting change. Great book. Everybody needs to read it. It's called 8 Keys to Lasting Change. And guess, have you read this book or no? 8 Keys to Lasting Change. What do you think is the number one step to lasting change, leading change? You're running a company, you're running a country, you know, you're running a family. You want to change the direction family is going. You want to change the direction your career is going. You want to change the direction your company is going. What is the number one quality to lead change in your company? What do you think is the number one factor? 8 keys to lasting change. Number one factor, what do you think it is?
People buying into the vision.
That's number 2. Good, by the way. That was number 2. What's number 1? Very
Willingness to want to change.
Okay. It's part of number 2. Buying into the vision, like I'm willing to change and let's improve. Number 1. You'd be amazed what he says number 1 is. I mean, I read this book. I'm like, everybody right now, I'm having the company read this book. Clarity. All this stuff I'm reading from people, right? Okay. Innovation. You know, all these things people are saying. Consistencies, mindset, respect. You know, he says the number 1 thing to driving and leading change is a person with a high sense of urgency.
Oh, wow.
Are you freaking kidding me? Like, let's go. Like, come on.
Sick.
Let's go. Like, what are we waiting for?
Yeah.
Right? We don't have that much time. Because the whole mindset of, oh, you know, it's 4 years. We got plenty of time. No, you don't have plenty of time. Yeah. You know, I'm talking to one of my old friends yesterday. We're on the phone together. And this person says, Pat, you know, I'm 39 years old. I said, I can't believe you're 39 years old. I said, you know, the other day I'm talking to Mario. And I said, Mario, I'm 42 years old. You're 40 years old. What did I say to you yesterday? You're 10 away from what?
50.
I'm 8 away from 50.
Yeah, it blew my mind.
When we were 28, did you ever think you're going to be 50? Did you think you're going to be 50 this quickly?
What?
I'm being serious with you.
To be honest with you, 30 to 40 goes like that.
Yeah. But what do you think 40 to 50 is going to be?
Hopefully a little bit slower. I'm praying. Slow down, life.
It's not going to. Now, I got some good news for you.
Yeah.
You're still going to look good at 50.
Thank you.
So you ain't got to worry about it. You're still going to be a good-looking 50-year-old. So Adam wants to be good-looking for the. Adam, you'll be 82 years old and you'll still be a studly-looking 82-year-old.
Take what I can get. But hopefully I'll be married.
I don't know if you'll be flexible at 82,
but I'll still be stretching.
But going back to it.
So number 1 is
sense of urgency.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
That's what I love about working with you, because you know, we talk about sports a lot. I've always been on a basketball team or a football team or baseball. I was never like a tennis player or a golfer, you know, just a solopreneur. And when I started my little show, Sauce Talks Money, and I was going at it alone. what I love about what you've created here is obviously a team environment, bringing in a bunch of people, different perspectives, but most importantly, it's the drive. It's like, let's go, every day. And it starts with the top. Like if you're slacking and you're not showing up to the office, there'll be a trickle-down effect, kind of like what we talked about earlier, that it starts at the top.
Yep.
But if you're the one who's here the earliest and the latest and working the hardest, it kind of, everyone is like, all right, let's go. Like Mario, naturally, slacker, clearly. but he wants to look good for you. So he's here, he's working late.
Mario, since he was 18 years old, the guy was a worker. The guy worked at dry cleaners.
I'm obviously being facetious.
No, but listen, when you meet his mom, you'll realize why he was a worker, because his mom could have been a ruler of an empire.
Guatemalan Empire.
She legit is a boss.
Heads will roll.
So, number one quality.
Yes. A leader with a sense of urgency.
Sense of urgency.
So Vinny P
Sick.
on here. Vinny P.
Vinny
says,
P.
Urgency, not desperation. Is there a difference? Being urgent versus being desperate?
Okay, so by the way, but wait a minute. That word is a big word. In the game of basketball, they say you got to play desperate sometimes. Like you got to play like, you're like, this is game 7. Like if we don't, like, by the way, I got to call these guys out. I mean, this is my one opportunity to call you guys out. We're in Aruba. You remember this conversation? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You're knocked out.
Oh, here we go.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
By the way, after midnight, Mario becomes like Mario. Like, you know how they say, what is that one guy that used to say he believes in reptilian, where people's body changes?
Like
Mario's body changes after midnight. Like phase
Walking
changes.
Dead.
Like, he's like, you got to see
The
Mario
Walking
after
Dead,
midnight. It's a show. Like I intentionally sometimes want to keep Mario till 1 o'clock to just look at his face after 12. By the way, I saw you the other day with Phil and Gerard at the house. You were legit also like making some faces.
I was tired,
great.
yeah.
clear, we sleep. Okay?
Anyway, so
Right, and we're not all vampire.
no.
My grandma wasn't banging vampires. Sorry.
Speak for yourself, buddy. But anyway, so we're in Aruba, and these guys, Swazo, Vic, Tommy, Hansberry, it's over. Phoenix Suns are gonna sweep.
Vic and Hannah, Vic?
Yeah, Vic and they're gonna sweep.
I like that guy, Vic.
I like him a lot. By the way, he's a legit basketball player.
Yeah.
Legit. Eatman was in that conversation as well. They're gonna sweep the Bucks. It's over. I'm like, what are you guys talking about?
Because they're up 2-0 at this point.
Because they're up 2-0. He says, best case, they'll win one game. I'm thinking they're going to sweep them. I'm like, you've lost your mind. You've lost your mind. Do you remember this?
Yep.
You've lost your mind to do this.
They debated you all night.
Bet. Let's bet. We
All
went
night.
3 hours.
You bet?
I mean, it was like, you're going to buy me a suit. You're going to do this. I'll do anything. But I'm telling you. So these guys were going back and forth. So every time they won, I never texted them once.
Yeah, just...
No, I didn't say nothing. No, until they won. And then I sent a group text. Hey, hope your day's going good, guys. And then they started kind of like... But the point is this. The Bucks played with urgency. Simple as that. And they played with a level of desperation. So, Mario, going back to your friend that's Vinny P that's asking a question about desperation.
Yes.
There's a big difference between desperation and begging. There's a big difference between desperation and begging.
Yep.
You know, the desperation creates a certain energy in you. Now, don't get me wrong. When you're selling, whenever you sell and you need the money, the client's going to feel it. You know what it's almost like? Let me explain to you what it's almost like. It's almost when a guy is dying to be with a girl or date a girl and she feels it, it's a turnoff. You ever notice, like, the girl's typically interested in which guy?
Hard to get.
The guy that's not showing a lot of interest in her, right? You know, clients feel it. Come on, let's buy tonight. But we have to buy tonight. That feeling. Versus, Johnny, you have to know I have 200 clients that I work with. And the clients I deal with, they take their careers and their finances very seriously. I'd love to be able to add you to my pool of clients that I deal with who take their finances very seriously. I'd love for you and I have a long-term relationship together when it comes down to your finances and contribute positively to you. But you got to kind of make a decision. So you tell me, do you want to make a decision or do you want to do what we've been doing our entire lives, which is just put things aside and say, I'm going to do it tomorrow? Because that's definitely not a formula for success. So what do we want to do, John and Mary? And then boom, from there. But there is a form of urgency of speaking that way where they're like, okay, this guy's not desperate for my business versus, come on, let's do it tonight. So yes, urgency is the number one quality to leading change in an organization.
That makes sense.
Would you have ever guessed that it's urgency as number one?
You know, I don't know if I would ever guess that, but it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Because if you're just kind of lollygagging and we'll do it tomorrow, it's a form of procrastination. No, do it now.
Yep.
And,
It's the now mentality. We used to have the now mentality. Guy would say, Pat, I got a client I want you to meet. Can we call him tomorrow? I said, no, let's call him right now. You can call? Yeah, let's call him right now. Here, call him right. Can you put him on? Give me the phone. Let's call him. Johnny, how are you? So I'm sitting next to Adam, speaks very highly of you. How do you guys know each other? How do you know this good-looking guy? Was he as good in basketball as he claims he was? I keep hearing this guy was an All-American, All-County guy. He keeps bragging about the fact that he was the best Jewish player in South Beach. Is it true, or is he just too arrogant?
That's actually true.
But that's actually true. Just so you guys know, Adam is a legend. He's like the Jewish Deion Sanders of South Florida.
Moshe Sanders.
You know what? I like that nickname, by the way. Jewish Deion Sanders. I don't think it's going to top Soy Boy, but I just think it's a good name.
Soy Boy.
I think it's a
Soy
good
Boy
name.
caught on very quickly.
Okay. What else we got?
So can you go through the other 8, or you don't want to go through it? You don't want
if you want to go through the other, go buy the man's book and help him make some money. John Cotter. He's a professor from Harvard Business School. I highly recommend reading his book. I don't own his book. Let him make that $4 that he's going to make if you buy his book tonight.
John Cotter.
Guy's probably going to be so surprised tonight. They're going to be like, why did I sell 2,000 copies last time? What happened?
PBD talked about it.
What else we got, Mario? Do we have anything else?
Hit that question.
Pat, when will you bring a Farsi version of your clips on YouTube? We need you in Farsi. شما میخوام من فارسی حرف بزنم. فارسی من خیلی خوب نیست. اما من یه چیز بگم به شما. دلم میخواد یه روز برم چجوری میگه اون موزیک؟ دلم میخواد به اصفهان برگردم. More than you will ever know. اما الان نمیتونم برم برای اینکه بچه‌ام 9 و 7 و 5 سالشونه و این یکی بچه 4 هفته دیگه یه ماه. So من ایران حالا نمیشم برم اما maybe one day we will. So anyways, that was my Farsi for you. How broken was that Farsi, by the way? دمت گرم.
For the 2% of the audience that didn't understand that.
The other guy says, now you do a Syrian. باید سوره همزومن. انا خبر که سوره همزومن. بابی سوره یمی Aram Netela, ama I think Babi Minili Kudim Agarimanu Surai Hamzuman. So go figure. So you know the whole movie Passion of the Christ? You know, they're speaking Aramaic. We can actually understand what
Aramaic,
they're saying.
yeah.
Aramaic, yeah. It's Assyrian.
That's what the language was?
Yeah.
Well, let me say this to my Jewish friends. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nishanu b'mitzvotav. PBD.
Say something to my Norwegian friends.
I'm praying for people. Praying that you wake up. Praying that you wake up and have a sense of urgency, sense of now, sense of purpose.
Arden says, any way I can come and speak to you at your office one day, I'm in Boca. Stay close to Mario and Kai. Figure out through those guys. We are in Boca, but I tell you, we got 3 big pit bulls at our front door. Massive. With 3 people with just ready.
Yep.
Ready.
Eric's dogs.
Those guys, they're not dogs, by the way. Those, they deserve,
Beasts.
20 years in jail for what they're
What was
capable
your
of.
what's your outcome with today's live? You haven't gone live in a year, so you must have a purpose and an
Kai
outcome.
and Mario said go live. Okay, I was trying to take my daily nap. Okay, so I'm laying up my bed that I have in my office. It's a very nice bed that we have, and I'm about to take my 90-minute nap. It's one of my friends, letter J and M, who loves naps. And they woke me up and I changed my clothes. I was wearing my pajamas, the pajama quality, vitamin pajama, long sleeve.
Get it on the merch store.
Yep. Coming soon, yeah. No, but I wanted to go live for a few different things. There's a lot of people that were asking questions about what's going on today with the Trump and Obama, as well as the Vault conference that's coming up in the next 5 weeks. And for people that have big plans in the second half of 2021 and going into 2022, I would do whatever I could to attend the Vault conference. And if you do want to see the Trump and Obama thing happen, we now have a link. Hi, can we put a link up here if people do want to go out there and contribute towards the raising of money to have this meeting with President Trump and Obama happen? If you can put that link there as well, that'd be great on both platforms. But that's why we went live.
Oh, I got a question for you,
Tell
PBD.
me.
All right.
Let's go. I say we go 16 more minutes and then we'll wrap up.
Okay. Well, this is on topic, very much on brand. So in the
By
next,
the way, Westbrook went to the Lakers.
they're talking about that. Did that happen?
Is it
yet?
finalized?
No, I don't,
Did Westbrook
as of
really?
an hour ago, it was not final.
I saw something with Westbrook to the Lakers. They were having a cigar
They're
together,
talking
but that's an
about that.
old video. Is it finalized? Lorenzo, is it finalized? Don't pull my leg here. I mean, if you being serious?
Westbrook to Lakers confirmed.
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 It's actually a good move.
Yeah.
It's actually a good move. Good.
For Kyle Kuzma, Harrell, and Caldwell.
Caldwell, yeah. It's actually a good move.
All right, so here's my question for you. You're a pretty cool cat. You don't get too high. You don't get too low. You haven't had a vault since 2019. I had the privilege of being at the PHP 2020 virtual convention
Were you
in
there
Dallas.
were you there with Bush and Kobe?
I was not there with that. It's actually my first time going to be at the big event
Oh,
and
yeah,
my first
good
time being
time.
at the vault. So here's my question for you. You haven't done either of these major events that are basically you've been in your life for, over a decade and now, 5 years. What's your excitement level from getting out there, pressing the flesh, seeing the people? What's your excitement level right
So
now? How
keep
excited
this
for
in
you?
mind, man. Not my number one favorite product in the world. My number one favorite product in the world is people. I love people, and I love stories. I started a company in 2003 called the Story Builders. Because to me, it was all about stories. I love stories. I love hearing Mario stories. When one day Mario walks into my office in Granada Hills crying. He's 19 years old. He says, "You have no idea how bad I want to change the world and how bad I want to win for my mom." He's crying and shaking. You remember that meeting?
Of course I do.
19 years old. I remember exactly where I was sitting at. I was 26 years old. I was 27 years old. Looking at Mario, I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this guy's freaking fire. I knew he was going to do something. I knew eventually if he could figure himself out. I love stories. I love sitting there and hearing your stories with your mom, your dad, upbringing, your sister, Jennifer, what you did, comedy. The other night, we go out with your buddy, Adrian. Adrian's telling who you really are and what you were all about. Pat, you don't realize how great of an athlete this guy was. I love seeing how Kai sends his resume from Norway and his family in Newport, and somehow he's linked to Newport and Norway, and you talk to his mom. His mom and I have had 45-minute conversations together on FaceTime. His dad and I text. His dad texts me regularly, sends me pictures. And I think he's trying to piss me off because it's such beautiful pictures. He says, wish you were here. Look how beautiful my country, Norway is.
Look
right?
at the
He says-
fjords.
Yeah.
Viewers.
So, and you hear Kai's story is one of the best stories if you get to know Kai's stories. But I love people. I love stories. And there's nothing more exciting to me than to see somebody who is here go here. So if we get a chance to put an event together and we create a community. When I was in the Army, people asked me a question, what do you miss the most about the Army? The number one thing you would have loved, man, if you were in the Army with us, maybe you're too foo-foo for the Army, but I think if you...
Football, I'm not that foo-foo. Now I'm a little foo-foo.
I don't
but
think you're as foo-foo. I think you are foo-foo, but you're not like fully qualified
Yeah.
foo-foo.
You're a big camaraderie guy.
I'm a camaraderie guy, buddy.
I know that.
Let me
you
tell
build
you.
that. That's what it is.
Let me tell you. It doesn't matter if I run a sales office, home office, a media company, military, whatever we do. We're going to the nightclub. We're going anywhere. I'm about camaraderie.
Yeah. I'm with
That's
you
a
on that.
magical thing. So Vault, the valuetainment community right now. Today I'm at the Gary's farmhouse. I'm eating there. Two guys. Hey, just want to let you know I follow everything you do. Okay. I go to, hey, I'm a valuetainer. Hey, it's so great seeing the community grow the way it is. I mean, you go everywhere. They're calling you soy, but you stopping you where you go. I think we need to.
But that's what you're excited about. Is
I
getting
love
back in
seeing
front of
these
the
people together, man. Let's go. Build some incredible stories during a time like this where 5-10 years from now, you're going to tell your kids, let me tell you what happened during COVID for us, but we came back, your daddy was strong, your mommy was strong, we took the business, we took our career to the next level, and because of that, you're going to this private school, we're traveling the world, you live in XYZ place, because in 2021, my daddy and I, my mommy and I, my husband and I, we made a decision together, and we went at this event, and we met this content, we met these people, and we built this great empire together. That is exhilarating to me, to see that become a reality. Mario.
I was going to ask you, is that why you think that this story of America is so important to you? Because you love seeing stories, and right now we're kind of not at that. Right now we're kind of in that moment. Would you say that that story of America is one that you want to end well?
Listen, I mean, in life, my dad once told me, I said, Dad, how many best friends do you have? He says, I got a couple of them. I said, Dad, a lot of people know you, but you don't let people in that easily. He says, no. I said, why not? He says, one incredible friend at the highest level is worth more than 1,000 okay friends. One, okay? One incredible running mate, is the byproduct of 100 regular people that just want to work for you, they're going to leave you in 2 years. One great running mate, a spouse, a partner, a friend, it's magical when you have that, right? When you think about that. Certain things in life that gives you highs. When you're part of a movement in a community, that gives some kind of confidence you can't even describe. Earlier today, you guys were talking about there used to be part of a gang called Thugs, or your friends were part of it.
I was never part of that.
You were throwing signs.
I was saying my friends
Look,
were.
guys,
I was
getting nervous. Why is your face turning red?
Pat, we don't want. Some of them are still in South Florida. We don't want these guys.
He's turning red. He's turning red. Look at this graffiti, and then Mario gets up and he starts doing this graffiti. Okay, yeah. And I remember in LA, the big graffiti guy was Chaka. Chaka was a guy. Do you remember Chaka or no? He used to be a.
I can't talk about it if I did.
No, I know you can't talk about it, guy. That's right. But why do people join gangs, man? It's the level of community, being around a group of people, right? That you're gonna do something together with. So I'm a big community guy, and I'm excited to see what happens there, because I think 2021 is a magical year. I think a lot of weird things are going to happen, but I think this is, when we look back 10 years from now, you're going to say 2020, 2021 gave birth, not like they were born, but I'm talking like
inspired,
a person who recreated themselves. I think the last 18 months are going to give birth to the most incredible leaders that we're going to read about and see, not 10 years from now, I think 20 years from now. You're going to see people that during times like this, you're going to find out who really is tough during times like this, whose character is going to be like, oh my gosh, this guy's got a strong backbone. Look at the way he communicates. Look at the way how strong she is. Look at the way she didn't back down and she went up there and fought and she ended up winning. Last 18 months are going to reveal a lot of incredible, strong heroes, but we're not going to find out for 10 to 20 years. Are you that patient?
I don't know. I got this sense of urgency. I don't know if you've heard, but it's like the number one thing.
We got 5 more minutes. Let me see what we got here. Soy Boy Mafia, and that's on SOS Talks Money. Yes, Mustard Stains. Times get tough, times get going. Okay, I mean, what a name. Mustard Stains. Great. Christy Chaka from Boyle Heights. Wow, Christy. Yes. Democracy doesn't everyone's problems. Is there any other questions before we wrap this up? What do you think World Cup is in, what do you think of World Cup in Qatar? I think it's going to be very hot. That's for sure. I'm one of those leaders. I love it.
I got a good one.
Go for it, Mario.
So Mateo is asking, Mateo Chi, back to a little bit of business, but what are the factors you look into aside from numbers that makes you say if a company's growth is slow or explosive? What are the factors you look at? You look at a company, you say that's an explosive company, that's a slow growth company.
What are the factors of an explosive company?
Yeah.
What are the factors of an explosive company?
Signs, traits, qualities.
It's going to go back to the same thing. I've never met any company that's growing rapidly that doesn't have an urgent leader. High expectation, high standards. You know that quote. How does that quote go? And Kai, give the quote. And every great company has 3 people. Every great company has 3 people.
A visionary, a barbarian, and a son of a bitch.
I don't think those are the 2, but the last one is a son of a bitch. Okay, you don't need to grab it. But the point is, every great company has somebody that just has a high expectation, high standard, hard charging, that you just you can almost never please this person. You can always do more around this person. So any company that to me is growing rapidly, I guarantee you there's a son of a bitch behind closed doors that has high expectations of people. Okay, we got 6 more minutes left here, Mario. When will you try to reach out to Trump and Obama? We have already, and we are already in communication with, but I will keep you guys updated as it gets. Every successful enterprise requires 3 men: a dreamer, a businessman, and a son of a bitch. Peter MacArthur, 1904. So you ask me a question, what company is exploding? There's typically somebody with high standards, high expectation, with a high level of urgency that gets others to do things that they typically wouldn't do on their own.
have a question for the audience as we kind of wrap up here. For you, actually, what are the next steps that anybody can take in regards to a topic like this? How would you start conversations with friends? Like, how do you take something like this and go and have that conversation at dinner, in your office, with your peers?
Which one?
Boards. The topic of what can we do next in America? How would you take this and turn it into a conversation in public with friends?
Yeah, and listen, I always say if, to me, there's 4 phases, right? We go on 4 20-year runs. First 20 years, don't make any major mistakes. Make mistakes, but nothing major. Don't go to jail. Don't, any of that stuff. Next 20 years, go out there and make a run to make money. The third 20 years, something to do creative and contribution. And the last 20 years, contribution and then other things you may want to do, giving back. If we were to ever start a university and a school, let's just say we start something called the Academy. Let's say there's something called the Academy one day, hypothetically, just throwing something out there. Let's call it a Vault Academy, whatever you want to call it, right? And it's a university that we run. You know what the format of this school would be? We would never have a Democrat teaching history. We would never have a Republican teaching history. We would have a Republican and a Democrat teaching history.
Wow.
We learn through debate. That's how we learn. So you ask me a question, what do we do with a topic like this of Obama and Trump? Have debates tonight at your house. Can it happen? Should it happen? What would you ask him? How would China react? How would Iran react? How would Russia react? Would it bring us closer? Who would do what next? What would they think of each other? What would they say to each other privately? Say the meeting's over with, they're getting in their car. What are they thinking about? Who's calling them? What happens next? These are the conversations that you have because, the parents that raised kids that became presidents or some of that, like Kennedys, we talked to Robert Kennedy. Robert Kennedy said in our family it was all about debates. Every night we had debates. My dad would say, you think it's good to take drugs? You think drugs are good for you? Should we legalize drugs? Why not? That's the Kennedy family. I think a good debate teaches a lot. So I think if I'm anybody watching this right now, I'll take that video, I'll show it to my family and friends and start a nice little discourse. Will it happen? Should it happen? Would you want to see it happen? Anything else? Guys, I hope you guys realize we got to go because Adam's got a date.
I get it. Pat, I got last question. Is this the last? Are we wrapping up?
What do you mean?
Open-ended question.
Yeah.
How's the future look?
Bright. But bright with responsibility. The only reason I say bright is because we're going to do our part. I don't know if that makes sense or not. It looks bright because I'm willing to pay the price for it to look bright. I don't think it's bright because it's going to be bright. Mm-hmm. So you know how some people don't think future is going to be bright? And you go a few layers deeper to wonder why they don't think it's going to be bright is because they're not willing to, put forth strategies and do their part to make sure it's going to be bright. If there's a little bit of a combination of an element of paranoia and confidence when you're giving your best. But if you're not giving your best, you're afraid. When you're not giving your best and you're afraid, who wants to follow you? Nobody. So that fear is felt amongst your kids, your spouse, your parents, your friends. Everybody's feeling it. Mm-hmm. But if you think future is bright, it's probably behind closed doors. You're doing certain things to believe the future is bright. Makes sense?
I gotta go get my sunglasses.
Go get your sunglasses and take your two cats.
Gotta wear shades.
Well,
Well, I gotta tell you, I think we're all excited for the big event. It's in less than 10 days?
Yeah.
And the vault is in a little over 30 days?
Right?
yes. What website can they go for what's going on with
Yeah, they can visit the.
Trump and Obama? That's a completely different website, right?
Right. We can post a link on social
Okay,
for you.
but they could go to thevaultacademy.com.
TheVaultConference.com.
Thevaultconference.com.
Or they can click the link that's
The
referenced there as well.
vaultconference.com.
They can click the link in the description as well on Facebook and on.
Twitter. It's
Can we tell people to put it in their calendar, the next live that we're doing? The next live will be July 29, 2022. Please put it in your calendars. At this pace, it's going to be a year from now.
I think we need to do this more often.
I think we should do it. I think we should eat or have a glass of wine or a cigar
Sure.
and do something like this.
I'm in.
How about next time we do it in a backyard over a cigar? What do you
Sure,
think?
we can do that.
Pat, if you're providing sushi, I'll be there.
I appreciate that. Okay, so
Adam's
Adam's all about friends with benefits. If there's no benefits, Adam's not about it. You got to make
Tell
sure you
your
provide that
friends.
sushi.
Pat, thank you for doing this. This has
Yes,
been
you
great.
got it, buddy. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye. By the way, this sushi was good. Not gonna lie to you.